All right, so a few people have asked me about the electronics that I put in this bike. So we have a few. I'm just going to turn on the lighting system as well now, so we can give you a good indication of what it does do. So the big thing about it is visibility and also some navigation. So you can see the back. That lower flashing light is a Garmin Varia. It's a radar. And so it can detect cars coming behind you at about 150 meters. And what happens with that is it will indicate on my Garmin Edge over here. Oops. On the Garmin Edge, down the side here, if something comes, it'll show the little dots moving up. So it gives you an indication of the range and the speed at which they're closing. And so it'll go dark red if they're closing really fast. It goes orange if they're closing fairly slowly or reasonable speed. Yellow if they are closing slowly. And then green once they're past you. All right, so really, really useful. This particular one has a video camera as well, which I thought would be kind of cool when I got it. Turns out it's not quite as useful as I would have liked. The second part, of course, is we allow flashing lights. So the daytime running lights on this bike are flashing. So you can see the red one here, and off the front door you can see the headlight also flashes as well. It's only one headlight. It's kind of an odd setup. So I'm not a real fan. I am going to change the headlights out of it. And the headlights that I have for it have a high beam and a low beam. Low beam is yellow, high beam is white. And both lights will have low beam and high beam, and so both lights will flash yellow when that happens. And then the high beam on both. So I'll get a lot more brilliance out of it. And they're 30-watt lights. So I also need to change the batteries for it as well. So I'll eventually do that. But right now, this works. The top light here is a brake light, so when it's on. And of course, it also has some signal lights, which, as you can see, quite visible. So full lighting package. And from the back, we can see it. There's also on the mirror, the blinkers, and at the front of the headlights as well. So you get lots of indication when you're turning, right? The flashing white lights are actually part of the overall package of flashing. So if we shut off, you can see that not only is the headlight flashing here, but also the mirror LEDs are as well. So you get lots of visibility from that perspective, right? So I don't forget to shut it off, I will shut them off now. Okay. So next up is this, the Ghost XL. This is a 4K camera, and it's showing red in the back. So when people come up behind you, they know that's a camera, and that they're about to be photographed, right? They don't know how high resolution it is. With the 4K camera, I can read license plates out to about 50 meters away. So when somebody passes, we can still stop it, and if they've done something stupid, I have their license plate number. Right, so it's really, really useful. I don't ride either bike without it, right? All the time I ride it. And in fact, if I take out the trike, which I have up here, I also put the camera on it as well, right? So it's just a lot safer. Next up, the centerpiece here, the Sigma. The Bulk doesn't have that. It didn't come, I didn't buy it as an option of having a speed sensor. That is the speed sensor for the bike. It's kind of automatic by default for the wah. I don't really use it. I left it there. I watch it once in a while. And when the battery dies on this thing, I won't be replacing it. I'll remove it. And in fact, I have a different set of wheels for this thing so that I can transport it so they don't have the carbon fiber covers on them. And these are going to be like my city wheels so that I can transport the bike for commuting. And it doesn't have the magnetic sensor, the magnet that's needed to make that thing work, and I don't care. The Edge, which is, this is the Garmin Edge 830. and that's not usually the page I use. The page I normally use is here, which gives me, I have all the sensors connected to it, so it gives me cadence, it gives me power, it gives me heart rate. I monitor my heart rate and speed. Right, I'm diabetic and I have AFib, so I have to make sure that my heart rate doesn't go above the recommended, which is 162. So I follow it fairly closely. And if I have an AFib incident, it shows up as about 190. So I know to stop, pound back a whole pile of water, and away we go. So it keeps me healthy. I also have a temp sensor over here, which shows up on the GPS map, and I'll talk about that in a second. So the Garmin Edge can navigate. It came with a cycling specific map for it, but it's not updated, right? So as they build more lanes and things like that, that cycling map is simply not updated. So consequently, it becomes less and less useful as time goes on. I use for navigation the GPS map, and that has, this is a 66i version, which basically has Iridium, the satellite system. So I can send messages via satellite regardless of where I am, even if I'm outside of cell coverage. And likewise, I can use it for tracking purposes. So I pay a subscription fee every month so that I can track. And it will allow me to track up to 15 points an hour, right? So every 3 minutes. And for 4 minutes, and so that allows it, if I get into trouble, my wife knows, she gets notification, she can go when she calls the cops or the ambulance or whatever, she has the map coordinates of where I last was, so they know where I am. The Edge is set up, as is my Fenix, is set up for incidents. So if it detects a very high G-force, which means that I've had a collision, and then I'm stopped, and anything changes like my heart rate or whatnot, what it will do is it will notify her that there's been a problem, that I've had an incident. So she can then call 911 or whatever. So it's handy that way. These electronics are all linked together. So the GPS map I use for mapping. So I have my distance, everything else and all that, and the temperature sensor so I know how warm it is. Because it has Iridium, they're both connected to my phone as well, and so I can get weather alerts, right? So I have the weather app on the GPS map, which will use the cell phone to contact, and it's so it's Environment Canada's weather service, and so I get severe weather warnings if there's severe thunderstorms coming, high wind notices, things like that. I get all that. So as soon as I connect live track, the phone tells me that there's a wind warning or thunderstorm warning or heavy rain or whatever, and that shows up on these devices here, right? Because it will, they both, in particular the GPS map shows all notifications from my phone. The Edge will not when it's in the middle of a ride. It doesn't show notifications. All right, so gives me a total communications package when it's combined with my phone, which I also always take. The other device in the middle is my garage door opener, and I take it with both bikes just because I've got automatic garage doors. So it's not really, you know, material to the bike and whatnot. So I would not take that, for example, if I was going to some ride that's away from here where I had to trailer the thing or whatever. I wouldn't bother taking the garage door opener or leave it in the car, right? So it's not material. But those are the things that we do have. Is this 4K camera, the radar, the Garmin Edge, and the GPS map. So it's a minimal setup, but gives me everything I need, right? I got good communication that way through my cell phone, and then I also have situational awareness with the camera. If something does go wrong, I can hand it over to the cops. If you like the content of this video, please hit a like or leave me some comments so I know it's important to you and I keep making videos that you want to see. And if you like my channel, then hit subscribe.